The rain never stops in this city. It washes over the neon signs, turning the streets into blurry rivers of red and blue light. For me, Haru, another night shift at this dusty old bookstore meant more coffee, more silence, and more pages to turn before my exams. The place was always empty, a forgotten corner in a city that never sleeps, but tonight, something was different. The clock on the wall ticked past 1:59 a.m., and right on the dot, at 2 a.m. sharp, the little bell above the door chimed. She just now appeared. One moment, the doorway was empty. The next, she was standing there, drenched but not dripping. Her steps were completely silent as she moved between the shelves, and where she walked, faint, glowing blue footprints materialized on the old wooden floor, shimmering like ink under a black light. She drifted towards the counter, her eyes holding a strange, ancient kind of sadness. She looked at me and asked for a book, not just any book. She wanted a book that, in her words, doesn't exist yet. I must have looked confused because she sighed, a sound like rustling paper. She told me her name was Luna, and this bookstore wasn't just a bookstore. It was a bridge, a place between worlds, and she. She was a memory weaver. It sounded like something straight out of the fantasy novels I was supposed to be shelving. She explained that when people give up on their most important dreams, those forgotten memories don't just disappear. They curdle, they become monsters, creatures she called oblivion wraiths. Right now, a particularly powerful wraith was loose in the city, feeding on the very essence of what people love. It was devouring the memory of passion itself. Luna told me that if we didn't stop it by sunrise, everyone in the city would wake up empty. They'd forget why they loved their partners, their hobbies, their jobs. Their lives would become hollow routines without any joy. Her mission was to trap it, and the only thing that could hold it was a special blank journal hidden somewhere in the back of this very store. Before I could even process what she was saying, she gestured toward the back of the shop. The dusty old door leading to the stockroom began to glow with that same blue light. The air shimmered, and the familiar, cramped space twisted and expanded, stretching into an impossible vista. The back of the bookstore had become an infinite library. Shelves floated in a dark, starry void, connected by staircases that spiraled in defiance of gravity. It was like something out of a dream, beautiful and terrifying. This was the Library of Shadows. Luna didn't hesitate. She stepped through the doorway, and I, feeling like I had no other choice, followed her into the madness. We had to find that journal, and we had to do it fast, but we weren't alone. A shadow detached itself from a distant shelf and began to grow. It was the Oblivion Wraith. It was a monstrous, writhing mass of tangled film strips, broken down toys, and shadowy ink. It was the physical manifestation of discarded joy, and it was hunting us. The chase was on. We leapt across floating platforms and ran up stairs that rearranged themselves as we climbed. The wraith was relentless, swiping at us with inky tendrils. This is where things got even crazier. Luna told me I had a power I didn't know about. Literal magic, she called it. She urged me to try, so as the monster lunged, I grabbed a thick tome from a passing shelf, found the word shield, and yanked it right off the page. The letters glowed in my hand, and then expanded into a solid barrier of light, blocking the attack. It was insane. While I created defenses, Luna went on the offensive. She dipped her fingers into the ink-like patterns on her own arms and drew things into existence, shimmering swords, nets of light, anything we needed. We fought our way deeper and deeper into the library. We finally managed to corner the wraith in a massive, circular chamber where all the floating shelves converged. It was trapped, thrashing and roaring, a storm of forgotten hopes. As Luna prepared a final binding spell, I got a closer look at the creature. Something about it felt familiar. On its chest, amidst the swirling chaos of film and plastic, was a single, unfinished drawing. It was a sketch of a fantastical hero, a character I'd created as a child. A character from a story I was going to write and illustrate. Suddenly, I remembered everything. The dream I had pushed away to study for a practical career. The passion I had convinced myself was a waste of time. This monster wasn't some random entity. It wasn't evil. It was mine. It was my own forgotten dream. Instead of fighting it, I dropped the book I was holding. I looked the monster in its swirling, chaotic face, and I finished the drawing on its chest. A brilliant, golden light erupted from its chest. The creature dissolved, not in a death scream, but in a quiet, peaceful release. The light exploded outwards, shattering into a million points of color that rained down through the library, through the city, returning all the stolen memories. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I woke up with a jolt, slumped over the counter. The morning sun was streaming through the bookstore window. The rain had finally stopped. Was it all a dream? The bell on the door was silent. The floors were just old, dusty wood. But then I looked down. On the counter, next to my textbooks, was a brand new sketchbook, one I'd never seen before. I opened it. On the first page was a perfect, in-can watercolor drawing of Luna, smiling. And beneath it, a single line of text in elegant script, "Write your own story." I closed the book, stood up, and for the first time in a long time, I walked out of the bookstore and into the morning sunlight, not tired, but energized. I found a pencil in my bag, and as I walked toward a new day, I finally, truly, began to smile.